How to explore what may have sunk the ships.
At least 4 of the 5 shipwrecks that we've discovered went down whole. So we're looking at a scenario whereby these vessels were actually swamped, filled with water, and then went down to the seabed as a whole.
It may be that Ventotene itself is to blame for this strange occurrence.
The problem is when you come too close to an island, apart from the big waves coming along with the wind, you also get a backwash as a rebound from the rocks, which can stir up a pretty confused sea. So at one stage you'll be rolling one way, and if the timing is correct, you'll get a wave coming the other way, which will keep on rolling you over.
In high seas, the Roman ship's precious cargo becomes a liability. There's a limit to how much pressure the stacked amphorae can take. Eventually, some of them break, upsetting the system of interlocking layers and shifting the cargo. The ship becomes heavier on one side and lists out of balance. Now, vulnerable to the waves, the ship is easily submerged and sinks to the sea floor completely intact. The fate of the shipwrecked Roman sailors has been lost in time, but the story of Princess Julia continues to fascinate historians. They have recently taken another look at her life and found that maybe she wasn't a harlot after all, but something far more dangerous.
The charge of adultery was often in Roman society an excuse to get opponents out of the way. Many scholars actually now believe that Julia's crime may not in fact have been adultery at all. There is a theory that perhaps Julia's real crime was involvement in a political conspiracy of sorts against her father.
Augustus crushed many plots to stay in power, and he isn't going to make an exception for his daughter. So he banishes Julia to keep her away from Rome and his political power games.
When Julia came here, she would have had no idea how long she was destined to remain here. This must have seemed like a living death. Julia was said to have been very popular back in Rome with the general public, and they were said to have protested against her exile. And although initially Augustus refused to listen to them, after 5 years, it seems, he did relent.
After 5 years, Augustus allows Julia to leave Ventotene, but he won't let her return to Rome. Julia spends the rest of her life far from the power center of ancient Rome, in what is today Reggio di Calabria. She dies at age 53, just a few months after her father, apparently starved to death by the new emperor Tiberius, who was also her husband. On the final day of the expedition, the crew tackles the deepest wreck of all. It's nearly 500 feet deep and holds one last secret, a cargo of mysterious cylinders. Objects like these have never been seen before, and Timmy is keen to find out what they are. So far, the crew has only seen murky ROV footage. Now they want to bring up one of the cylinders.
Okay, you're up.
And as luck would have it, the weather forecast is promising.
It's the only day we're going to have a shot at this, and we've been preparing meticulously yesterday and this morning, and we're going to give it our best shot.
Spirits are high, but as the team approaches the dive site, the waves pick up again.
Wait!
Oh, that's a big one.
Despite the heavy seas, the crew prepares for the dive.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There you go. I'm really getting jerked around.
What's the depth?
109, I see the shot line.
The conditions quickly go from bad to worse. And as the wreck appears on the ROV camera, there's more bad news. The shot line has landed close to the ship, but not close enough.
There it is.
Roberto, the shot line is 10 meters away from the side. We can't bring it up and move it.
Timmy consults the divers.
The ROV is on the side. If you can do it.
They're not going to be able to do the recovery because A, because of the weather, and B, also the distance, and the weather doesn't allow us to pick this up and redeploy. You see, imagine something weighing 200 kilos or 150 kilos and something like that. One of us will end up getting injured.
They can't bring up a cylinder today, but all is not lost.
Nothing beats the human eye, so the divers are going to get a good visual inspection done of these objects, and hopefully Roberto's footage of the site will help us better understand the makeup of this mysterious cargo.
This is the toughest of all the dives. Roberto and Marco only have a slim window of 10 minutes at 480 feet. Every extra minute they spend at the wreck means an extra hour of decompression. When they reach the bottom, they discover they face yet another challenge. The water over the target is as black as night, clouded by sediment. The divers venture into the darkness alone, because in these conditions, it's too dangerous to have the ROV follow them. From the surface, the crew can only watch the divers' lights in the distance. After Roberto finishes his survey of the wreck, the crew must wait until his decompression is done before they can watch his footage. What they don't know is that something has gone wrong with the dive. After a 5-hour wait, they get a call from the dive base.
Exploded, huh? As you can see, something really thick. Try to break. Try to break. It's very strong.
Part of Roberto's camera was crushed by the extreme water pressure.
On the aluminium, huh? This was perfectly round before. Now it's completely squeezed, huh?
Oh, bent completely. You're a lucky guy.
Always.
Always.
You're born lucky, you don't become lucky.
But for Timmy, this is no laughing matter.
He spent 12 and a half minutes down there.
12 enough?
12 and a half.
Yeah, I'm good, huh?
You were meant to spend 10. You're a naughty man.
Yeah, but come on, my friend.
Only a few minutes into the dive, Roberto got into trouble.
Under there.
Very black, completely black, huh? Boom. I just have this big bang like this, and I mean, it was very strong in my hands and in my stomach, and it was not long to realize that something imploded.
This one here?
Boom. This is the second one.
The second one went? Jesus.
The shrapnel from the implosion could have shredded Roberto's equipment, or even injured him. And at this depth, a fast rescue would have been impossible. A lesser diver would have aborted the mission. But Roberto put his camera down to get his hands on one of the mysterious objects.
And I tried to pull it up. It was stuck on the bottom. No way to move, not even to move a little bit. And there is a hole here. And I tried to put the finger inside and try to move and see that, I mean, it's completely stuck.
You think that almost definitely there's some form of metal?
Would say, yeah. And this bluish belongs to the material. This I can tell for sure.
Could have been lead. Lead is a blue-gray.
The cylinders keep the crew guessing, but they've gathered other clues about the wreck. These amphorae prove that the ship sank around 2,000 years ago. Timmy thinks it may have been heading for the city of Rome, with a hold full of grain. This would have rotted away over the millennia and left only the pottery and the mysterious metal cylinders.
Whether there is some form of raw materials being transported, we still don't know. But we're a step closer to solving that mystery.
It's been 5 days since the team started the expedition, and their time in Ventotene is coming to an end. But they're about to face the biggest challenge of all. After days of stewing in the sun, the garum is ready to be served.
Allora, assaggiamo questo garum.
So, shall we taste this garum? Have a smell. We've taken the ancient recipe.
Senti il profumo.
At first, the crew is suspicious. But finally, the garum works its ancient magic.
That's not bad. Oh, come on. Put the little on. Campagna Wild.
The treasure the crew has found off the coast of Ventotene has given them an appetite for more adventure. They may just come back next year to add more pieces to the great jigsaw puzzle that is the history of the Roman Empire.